there's a question in the chat room over here from Patrick Blanc, one of our longtime supporters of the show, and he wanted to bring attention to the William Ryan, I forgot the last name, forgive me, the Navy SEAL who was killed, and the attention that was brought to his wife. And he was saying that there was part of it that made him uneasy. It was like an ode to unquestioning reverence to our military. And it seems very similar to the infallibility of that you see in Catholicism, right? And it was almost like peddling and it was lifting up our military to the point where actually, if I could add to what Patrick was saying, it was using this man's life and this man's wife as a means of insulating him from criticism with regard to the failed raid. And not just that individual raid, he's using that as a way of insulating him from any criticism on the military front. And what's even worse about it is that I can't say it's worse because, well, what I was going to say is that what's bad about it is that you have this bipartisan support of this type of propaganda. And I get it. I get it that it would have been political suicide for Democrats not to stand and applaud in that moment. But, you know, we got to call that moment for what it is. That was nothing more than propaganda, militaristic propaganda to allow Donald Trump to carry out any military campaign that he wants without any type of criticism or critique from politicians or the media.
Yeah, I mean, it was a weird moment. He made like a joke too, like he's up in heaven looking down or something like that, and people were like laughing about it. I'm just like, whoa. That was a weird moment for me too. I looked at that, I was like, that didn't play over well for me. And I'm usually a little bit colder when I deal with people dealing with loss, and I just knew that wouldn't be something I would have said.
Yeah, I was like, dude, do not improvise. Stop improvising, Trump. You're not.
Oh, extemporaneous. Improvised?
Oh, hell yeah. That part was 100% improvised. Like, it was so dumb that there's nobody who could be a professional speechwriter and actually have written that in a damn speech. It was that dumb. But yeah, so that part was very cringeworthy. I'm like, come on, Trump. That's really, you know, as much as I dislike Trump, I hate to see people be as dumb as he is. It's painful to watch it in live in action. It's like a train wreck where he's talking about, you know, he's smiling because he broke a record for the longest standing ovation. I'm like, really, Trump? This lady's husband just died. What, less than a month ago? You only been in office for a month. So less than a month ago, she died. But back to the underlying argument, question that Patrick had, was that this is some type of, you know, it's the same exact hero worship and the usage of patriotism and faux patriotism as a means of silencing any criticism, because now he's trying to turn this failed raid into a heroic moment that will give him some type of mandate to do another thing. And he also uses, you know, this idea that they got some unprecedented intelligence from this raid, and therefore this raid was worthy of Ryan's death. And in actuality, there was a report that came out today that they received nothing, no intelligence of any significance, but that does not stop Donald Trump from getting on stage. I mean, I guess.
Oh, I want to respond to the
yeah. Go ahead.
Question before you go. You know, we have to understand something, and that is nationalism and the way the right can wield it. That us versus them, that mentality, that is really, really a weight around our neck when we're trying to fight for good domestic policy. When we're trying to really get a progressive domestic policy in place in America. It can't be one of those things where we kind of cede the narrative to them on foreign policy. We just can't. We can't because they use it to beat us down. They use it for their advantage, and it keeps us from getting what we need to do on the domestic end. So I think we really need to understand that for every dollar that's spent overseas, for every dollar that's spent on bullets and bombs, that's money that we can't use for things that we need to have done here at home or for productive things in general, even if it is for us in theory, right? And so what I really want progressives to understand is we can't accept militarism anymore. We really have to start to counter that whole narrative and really embrace that. Democrats shouldn't be standing up for patriotism and ultra nationalism. We have to let that go. We have to fight that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I'm glad you said it just like that, right? We cannot lay down and continue to seed the foreign policy argument, because to reiterate what you're saying, every dime spent on bombs and bullets cannot be spent on bread and butter here at home.